Hi there, welcome to Bourbon Turntable. This is the show that blends the love of music with the love of whiskey. Tonight, I've got a wonderful guest. Nick Govrik is joining me. Nick is an incredible musician and an even better songwriter. He has been with bands that, if you've listened to this show at all, you will be familiar with. He has been with Trigger Hippy and Bagmen, and now he has branched out and is doing his solo album, One More Time for the Man. It is available anywhere you stream music. You can also go to his website, www.nickgovrik.com, and you can order some vinyl. And coming up this Friday night, if you're in Nashville, here's your plan. He is having an album release party this Friday, June 27th at 3rd and Lindsley. He'll have a fantastic group of musicians that will be joining him, playing live, playing the songs from this album, as well as other things as well. So we'll get to Nick in just a minute. And before we do that, I want to tell you about Bar Cart Co-op. Bar Cart Co-op, it's a collection of friends who produce content for the whiskey enthusiast. Shows like Distillers Talk with Alan Bishop, Christy Atkinson. They talk with distillers from across the country and around the world about anything and everything in terms of distillation. Alan also has shows like One Piece at a Time Distilling Institute. If you've got a question about distillation, send it to Alan. Ask Alan. He'll post video responses to your questions. Alan also has a show called If You Have Ghosts, You Have Everything, which delves into pretty much everything other than the whiskey business. Could be talking about ghosts, could be talking about the paranormal, could be talking about religion, could be talking about UFOs, could be talking about Bigfoot, could be talking about, I don't know, you name it. He covers it on If You Have Ghosts, You Have Everything. My Whiskey Den comes on every Monday night, 9 o'clock Eastern, 8 o'clock Central. My Whiskey Den, where craft whiskey is king. Be sure to join Pat, Mike, and Mitch for a really good time. Lastly, Whiskey in My Wedding Ring with David Levine. David has wonderful guests on his podcast and on his blog, posts some excellent reviews, reliable reviews on whiskeys he has tried. As for our show, check us out on YouTube. If you're watching us right now, hit subscribe. We would love for you to join us week in and week out. You can also listen to us on your favorite podcast platform on Apple, Spotify, or Google. We have a Facebook page where we post all of our shows, and a Facebook group where we post whatever I really feel like posting, and you can post what you want there too. So with all that behind us, let's get right into it, Nick. I think you'll really enjoy this, and you gotta listen to this album. One More Time for the Man. Goodness, such a great songwriter. So let's get into it with Nick Govrik on Bourbon Turntable. Well, we have a really cool guest tonight. Nick Govrik is with me. Nick, welcome to Bourbon Turntable.
Thanks for having me. It's good to be on.
Yeah, Nick's got a new album coming out June 6th called One More Time for the Man.
Oh, look at that.
Look at you. Yeah, I tell you what, when I first saw the album cover, when I first saw that, I thought something looks familiar. And I'm thinking, okay, there's some old school George Jones there.
Oh,
okay?
man, the possum.
And then there's some old school Conway Twitty, just with the kind of the headshot, and then the list of songs. Elvis too. Yeah.
I don't know if that was by design, but it seemed to come out that way.
Yeah, I thought, okay.
I don't look half as cool as those fellas.
I don't know. I'm digging the shirt. The shirt is pretty cool.
Yeah, that's the shirt I wore to my junior prom. Except my afro was a lot bigger back then. It actually went out of the yearbook picture frame.
We need to see that photo. We need to see that.
Not on your line.
So I thought that's either an incredibly happy accident, or just a very clever album artwork design on your part. But
well, that I mean, of course, it's just a photo of me, but it's Keith Brogdon from Thinking Out Loud Design. Did I sent him a bunch of? He's like, just send me a picture, man. I'll just put something together. I had all these like visions of these different album. He's like, yeah, just kind of tell me what you think is cool. Send me some examples, and then literally I sent him a bunch of stuff and some photos of me, and then he said, and then none of them turned out like anything that I had sent him.
Yeah.
And then when he sent me back this cover, I thought, I'm like, well, that's a little scary because to have a big fat head like mine on your album cover, you're putting yourself out there. But then I got used to it, and he reassured me, and the response has been really great. People really,
no, I think it's great. I think it's great. It's very classic, old school kind of design, and it fits what's inside it too.
But hold on, throw that Conway Twitty one up there again, man. I mean, look at that thing.
Yes,
I mean, look at that hair.
Yes, that is heavy coats of shellac.
My God.
Oh man.
What a singer.
And let's see what Elvis looks like on this one. Where'd he go? That's not as heavy slick back as a lot.
No, that was his movie years. He started to.
Yeah.
He did.
But this hair is pretty cool too. I mean, you can patent that.
Well, this it's I've had the best permanent wave for my entire life.
Yeah, I've had the same haircut since kindergarten. So
me too, literally. I think I've only been to the barber maybe a couple times in my life. When I was younger, as an adult, maybe one time. And I just cut my own hair, and I cut my kids' hair. Their hair's all curly as well.
Yeah.
And I just told, and now they all just cut their own hair.
Well, it saves money, that's for sure.
Well, when you have curly hair, straight hair people don't know how to cut curly hair.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyhow.
Yeah. Let's drink some whiskey. What do you say?
Yeah.
Let's have some of this Russell's Reserve. I've sent you a couple of things that I think are really good bourbons. Now, one thing I will say, when I opened the bottle to pour your sample, and I opened the bottle tonight so I could have it for the show, and the cork broke. So now I've got it in a mason jar. What's left of it? So.
Do all your viewers, are they familiar with these little medicine bottles that you put the samples in?
Yeah, I would say most of them are. Yes, that's just a good way to send out some samples. So
I love it.
Yeah.
Oh, let's see. Look at
Yeah, there you go.
Ooh.
Yeah. Now, this is a Russell's Reserve from Wild Turkey. It's a private selection single barrel, 110 proof. There's never been a bad one of these. So, cheers, sir.
Cheers.
So,
that's
album's
great.
out. Yeah, you
Very
like it?
Nice.
Are you a whiskey guy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Any favorites?
I kind of, I started off as a kid, drinking, Jack and Coke like all the teenagers should in the 1980s. Graduated to, understand a little bit, where good bourbon and good whiskey is. I think I pretty much, I do Four Roses is what I kind of have around the
Yeah,
house. I do Bullet or Woodford Reserve. Uh, just
yeah,
kind of, I,
yeah.
I don't go too deep.
Okay. Now that's good stuff. Four
Yeah.
Roses is one of my favorites as well. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
And then I have stuff that friends give me for gifts, and I never know the names, and it's all shit I can't pronounce or forget, or that I'm never gonna buy. You know,
yeah.
yeah,
Well, it as long as you enjoy it, that's
absolutely.
an important thing. And you play enough shows and bars and things
Yeah,
like that.
I do like Wild Turkey. I like that Wild Turkey rye. It's
Yeah,
nice.
it is very good.
Yeah, I drink that. That's kind of like my go-to at like restaurants or whatever.
Yeah, yeah. I get the Wild Turkey 101 out a
Mhm.
lot, the bourbon, and occasionally the 101 rye. Uh, you just can't beat it. It's good value. It's good whiskey, and
Yeah,
I don't want to overpay out at some restaurant or a bar for whiskey that I've probably got better than that at my house.
yeah. That's how I feel about music
Yeah,
and food
yeah.
and prostitutes.
Okay, we may get into two of those topics tonight. So
Well,
albums out
hopefully
on
the latter. Yeah.
albums out on June 6th.
Mm-hmm.
Your fellow
Streaming June
bat
June 6th. Yeah.
Yeah, your fellow Bagman guitarist, Luther Dickinson, his band's got an album out on June 6th.
Really?
Yep. North
He didn't
Mississippi
even.
All Stars.
I didn't get the memo. He didn't tell
Well,
me.
the guy that didn't get the memo was Steve Gorman because he doesn't have anything coming out on June 6th. So,
That's right.
but I thought that was kind of funny when I saw yours. Um, your single come out, and I started looking through the details of it to find out about the album and saw the date on it, and I thought, wait a minute, I thought I saw uh, Luther's album's coming out then, and
He
sure enough, it is.
he hasn't returned any of my calls, so he must be mad that I chose the same release date. I checked
Well,
all the hospitals. He wasn't in any
he
of them,
wasn't
so
he wasn't any of them. Yeah.
he must be mad at me.
But as I listen to this album, it's kind of a Joe Cocker meets Conway Twitty meets Elvis at Big Pink kind of feel to it for me. Kind of a soul country. Um, it checks a lot of boxes for me with what
But
you've done with this.
those are of course all things I love and worship and that are important in our household. Um, I try not to wear my influences on my sleeve,
Mm-hmm.
but I grew up in a musical household, and my stepdad was a great musician and great singer and had great taste, and we had a really cool old jukebox, and so I was steeped in that stuff. And
Yeah.
like you said, you've had the same haircut your whole life. Not only have I had the same haircut my whole life, but I've been playing the same music since I was, literally 13 years old. I
Yeah.
never went through other phases. I've just been doing the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
When
Well,
other kids in high school were trying to, and I'd try to be, get bands together, and other kids were wanting to play Rush and prog rock or whatever, and I was
mm-hmm.
trying to, I would convince them, to come over, and I would make them believe that I really was into that, and that's what we were going to do, and then I would slowly try to turn them into like playing like Hank Williams songs, but like in a punk style, you
Yeah.
know.
Well,
Yeah.
that'd be fun. That'd be good to hear.
Oh, that's what it is.
So you said you came up in a musical household. So all your family members, parents, grandparents play instruments, or just
Yeah, and
music
well,
was a big part of it.
my stepdad, who was in my life since I was like 7 years old. Like I said, he's a great singer, great front man, and he grew up in Virginia and kind of had these bands on the East Coast there. One band in particular called the Good Humor Band, and a lot of great players came in and out of that band. A lot of great musicians, people like a lot of Nashville guys that moved here, like Bruce Boughton, steel
Hmm.
player, Bucky Baxter, who was in Dylan's band. He was also a steel player. All these guys, Mike McAdams, Greg Wetzel. They were the Good Humor Band, but people came in and out of. Danny Gatton was in it for a bit. Um, all these Evan Johns, this great singer, that was in after my dad left. But anyhow, so I grew up, you know, around that. My dad, stepdad was he played every Sunday at the Palomino Club in Los Angeles,
Yeah.
and I would hang out there, in the afternoons, and when I got old enough, I would sit in with him, and so yeah, it's been part of my being. Yeah,
Yeah. So what was the first thing you started to play? First instrument?
I started to play guitar. Of course, Dad taught me a few chords, um, but I always, I wasn't good enough to figure out how to do cover songs early, and so I would. I would just write my own songs, and so I was able to do that pretty early. And so I would try to, I dropped out of college. I was like, oh, I was, get back into music, start a band. That's what I'm going to do. And of course, was started a band with some local guys, and we, I was just going to play guitar, rhythm guitar, and kind of front the band. Of course, we had a really good bass player, and he quit. And then I was like, well, shit, fuck it, I'll just play bass.
Hmm.
Um, and then we were just a trio, and I was the bass player, and I could barely play, but we sounded better. We sounded better, even though
Yeah.
I was terrible. And then just somehow I just kind of figured out how to, be in a band. And with those same guys, I went on they were friends of mine from high school, and we went on to record 3 records with Malico Records, and we did them all down, recorded them all down at Muscle Shoals with all the
Yeah.
Swamper guys with us and the Muscle Shoals horns, and yeah, it was a great experience. I was just
Yeah.
a young kid, in my early 20s.
Uh, and somewhere along the way, you were an executive chef. Is that right?
Not somewhere along the way, the way. I, yeah, I started. I worked in restaurants and learned how to cook from this couple that had this great pizza place, and um, we were doing like farm to table shit way back then, and like
Yeah.
early '90s. Like we had like the first like vegan, like soy cheese pizzas and shit like that back then, and they had a garden, and so they really knew how to make things taste good. And I was washing dishes, and the owner called me and said, "Nicky, get in here!" And he gave me a pizza dough and a spoon, and said, "Here's the sauce, and you can do like this." And I was like, "I can't cook." He's like, "Oh yeah, you can." And so, like within 6 months, I was running the whole kitchen, and then I worked my way up to fine dining, and eventually I was a sous chef, and then executive sous chef, and then a chef, and I own my own restaurants, and I've been the food and beverage director. We got all kinds of stuff. Meanwhile, touring all over the place, making albums, songwriting, raising up kids, the whole thing.
Yeah. So you just still cook around the house?
Oh yeah, I still
Yeah.
cook all the time. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
What
Yeah.
what are what are your favorite things to make?
Well, whatever's in the house. See, people ask that. What's your favorite, like recipe to do? Or what kind of food do you like? I just whatever I have on hand. Is kind of my thing. But
Yeah.
I'm like a bona fide chef. Like
Wow.
I'm not like just some.
Well,
I've managed like a kitchen of like 30 people with, you know, yeah, and cooked for all kinds of dignitaries and statesmen and you know all kinds of people.
that's
Honestly,
incredible. That's
yeah,
incredible. All the while making music, recording albums,
hmm,
going on tour.
yeah.
Um,
I used to work at this place. I was there for so long. I had so much vacation time. I was there for 16 years, and I had so much vacation time, so much personal time, so much leave time. And after about 5 years of me being there, they were like, "Okay, just whatever." And so I would go on. I had a full staff, so I'd go on tour
yeah,
for like 2 3 weeks at a time and come back, just pick up where I left off.
that's awesome.
Totally awesome. I mean, I
Uh,
was able to kind of do both things. I don't know why I did all that. Looking back, um, it was kind of ridiculous. I would be on one end of the country one day playing a festival, and then
mhm.
I'd have to fly home and do a huge dinner for 300 people with you know what I mean, like shit like that.
Yeah, that's incredible. Um, so, how did you get connected with Steve and the other guys with Trigger Hippie? How did that come about?
Well, Steve and I have been friends and met each other about probably in 2004, maybe. And he had moved to Nashville, and
Hmm.
a mutual friend, actually Audley Freed, who was
Yeah,
in the Crows, Black Crows, had said, "Hey man, my buddy of mine just moved to town, is just looking to jam, so And next, we did a little impromptu gig at this little place called the Family Wash, and next thing you know, we started a little band, and we
yeah,
call it Hey Hey Hey, and we played every night, every Wednesday night
yeah.
at the Family Wash. That was a really cool little restaurant, bar, music
Hmm.
venue, real local, cool vibe in East Nashville. It's kind of bedrock East Nashville before
Yeah,
East Nashville was you know
right,
the place.
right. Yeah, a lot of Nashville's kind of gone through that cycle of
Don't get me started
yeah. Now, are you a
because
Nashville? Are you a Nashville guy? Is
I
that where you're
work.
from, or
I'm
how long?
I well, I moved here around um probably 12 or 13 maybe, like
Okay.
right before high school, and I was living in Los Angeles, and I was telling you before that my dad was a singer, and my mom and my dad were both clothes designers, and we lived out in Los Angeles. They were in the entertainment business, and they were made clothes
Hmm.
for all kinds of.
Did they design that shirt?
Well, no, but I
No.
probably wouldn't have been able to pick that out from the Goodwill if I didn't grow up
Okay.
with my mom and my dad and their style and their you know
Yeah.
their good taste. Yeah, but they work for Manuel. Who Manuel worked for Nudie, who the Nudie suits, all the Western.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
worked for him, and then they branched out on their own and opened their own shop, and um, like one of their first big clients was Bob Dylan, and they did
Wow.
his whole wardrobe for a world tour for the Infidels record. Yeah, which probably at least I got lunch money for about a year. Those were that was high cotton.
Yeah.
We
Uh,
had we could I at least got lunch money.
Yeah. So you got hooked up with Gorman about 20 years ago, and you playing
Yeah.
at the,
So yeah, we were at the we planned at the Family Wash. We said, hey, let's see, you get a band. We call it Hey Hey Hey. And then we kept Steve and I were like, well, this is kind of cool. We kind of connected right away, and over the years after that, he was like, oh, we got to get something. Let's get a band together. Let's do it. And then I remember one night he called me. He's like, "Hey man, come on. We're gonna get let's get a power trio together." And I've been talking to Jimmy Herring, and he goes, "Do you know a bass player that can like sing and play?" And Steve said, "Yeah, I know just the guy." And so that's kind of how we started Trigger Hippie. Was
yeah.
just me, Steve, and Jimmy Herring, if you know who that is, guitar player. Um, and we went down to Atlanta to jam, and next thing you know, we were like, all right, let's do this. And so we started the band, and Audley kind of came on board too, and we played a show in Macon, Georgia,
Hmm.
at the Cox Capitol Theater, and so we were like, yeah, let's get Trigger Hippie going, or was and Steve had named it, and I hated the name, but. And I thought for sure that Jimmy would be like, "Oh man, that name fucking sucks." But Jimmy was like, "That's killer, man." And so I had to roll with that. And anyhow, it ended up being okay. So Jimmy ended up getting so busy with Widespread Panic and just
Yeah.
couldn't commit. And we were like, "Well, we want to take this further." At that time, we were like, "Oh, we need like a singer, like a real singer, and like we could really,
Hmm.
because I got all these songs and stuff, and anyhow, somehow Joan Osborne came into the picture, and then we started getting together with her and writing and jamming and hanging out and planning, and it kind of grew organically from that. Um, and then eventually the band morphed. Jackie Green came on board, and then
Hmm.
Audley left, and then Tom Bukovac came into the picture, and that really elevated the band in a different way. And he had this home studio in his house, and he's like, we, you guys want to make a record at my house, and then we did, and he produced it, and
Yeah.
yeah, so that's kind of the Trigger Hippie story, and it's kind of had its different phases, and since then,
Yeah. Yeah. You know, Joan and Jackie left, and you brought in Amber, who's
yeah,
gorgeous voice, and
awesome.
uh,
And Ed
so
Journey, yeah, that was like one of those things where like, well, shit, can we keep going? And like Steve was always like, yeah, we keep going. We got the songs. Like, and I was like, oh yeah, we got songs. That's right.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So how much of the Trigger Hippie stuff did you write? There's some songs that sound like you. After I've gone through and listened to One More Time for the Man, I went back and listened to the Trigger Hippie stuff and the Bagman stuff too. And there's some in the Trigger Hippie that I'm pretty sure that you wrote, but just
Yeah, I
based on
mean,
style, a Pretty Mess, uh,
yeah,
The Door. Did you write The Door?
yeah. I wrote The Door, Pretty
That
Mess, Heartache on the Line. I
the
mean,
door is the best Trigger Hippie song in my opinion. I
oh
love that
really?
song.
I
Love
wrote
that
that
song.
with. Thank you. I wrote that with Tom Bukovac. Actually, he sent me a voice memo recording of that guitar part, and then I just kind of finished it from there. It just had that, but yeah. So anyhow, thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, you kind of had my hands on a lot of the songs. Some of the more rockin' stuff was just like me and Joan and Jackie just kind of getting together
yeah,
and you know um, just writing stuff. We got to get together several times, over the course of like a year, and just kind of hammered stuff out and wrote things here and there.
yeah,
Um, but I always just had stuff on hand that we could just like, okay, this is ready to go. especially when Tom came into the band, Tom Bukovac, um, he kind of gravitated more towards like the songs that I had already written, and was like, "Oh, we could. This sounds like a Trigger Hippie song. Like this is a
Yeah.
duet or whatever." So,
Yeah.
So anyhow, yeah.
Yeah. No, and then Bagman came up what, a couple years ago with you
Yeah, that
and
was just
Luther and Steve.
yeah, that was really fun and just a real blast to do. And I'm sure we'll do more in the future.
Yeah.
Luther's just
There you
he's
are.
like, oh yeah, look at that.
That was up at Southgate House Revival in
Oh yeah, up in
Newport.
Cincinnati, and
Yeah.
Look
There's the man right there.
at
Yep.
yeah, really fun band. We didn't take it too seriously. It was kind of one of these things. It was just like, yeah, let's just go in the studio, let's bang out some songs, and let's go out and play. And it's kind of what we
Yeah.
did.
Yeah. It's good
That,
stuff. It
that,
really is.
that was really interesting because, I hadn't been in a trio since, I was very young. And, and so, and also then just totally fronting the band and singing everything. Because
Yeah.
Luther was basically like, yeah, like this would be cool, but I don't want to have to worry about singing or talking or anything. So I'm like, yeah, okay, we're gonna. So
Fortunately,
I,
you can sing and talk, so you had
well,
that covered.
yeah, but like that was a workout. It was,
Yeah.
that was a workout. That took a lot, to do a trio and with no other decorative stuff going on. It has it's liberating too though because you can go all these different places and it doesn't get off track. You can bring it back around much easier than when
Yeah.
you have,
Yeah.
five piece or whatever.
Yeah. It's pretty no nonsense, straightforward.
Yeah,
Here we are. We're going to have fun. We're going to sing these songs. You're going to love it. And
yeah, totally.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. We it wasn't too serious. Most of the recordings we did were just very like we just do a couple takes, 2 or 3 takes, bang it
Hmm.
out. Like all the improvised stuff in the jams at the end. That's just us, just just what it was. So,
Yeah.
which is cool, and it's kind of nice just to have something like that, just for posterity, I guess.
Yeah. So, what type of show can we expect at the record
Certain
release show?
you can expect a raucous of a party going on. It's a really This is really a fun thing. So we've done this several times with, I've been with that group of musicians and friends. Um, we've been played several shows together. We kind of do this kind of music collective thing where it starts out and then with Guthrie and his trio, and then it kind of grows from there.
Hmm.
And different musicians get up, and then it builds and builds, and it's really fun, and it's just like just we're all great friends. We all love hanging with each other, and it's a stupid name, guitar party, but it's the best we could do. But those guys are just insane musicians. They're insane. They're
Yeah.
just and it's a lot of fun. So when I knew I was gonna put the record out, and we've been doing a couple of my songs with this, at the other shows.
Hmm.
We did a run at the Bitter End. We did like 3 nights in a row. We played in Chicago, did 2 nights there, back in the uh, late fall and winter. And When I decided to put my record out, and I said, "Well, hey, can we incorporate the guitar party?" And they're all like, "Yeah, let's do it." So great band to have. We're gonna have other special guests as well. But
Yeah. Um, so people can get tickets where?
Third and Lindsley,
Okay.
um, yeah, I think you
Classic
can.
venue in Nashville.
Yeah, it's a bedrock. Third and Lindsley. It's been there. I've been playing there for since it opened, early 1990s.
Yeah.
But Ron Bryce still owns it, still runs it. Sounds amazing. You know what you're gonna get there. It's just good stuff, and
Yeah.
they got a good backstage, and we have the backstage antics are hilarious with this group in particular.
Yeah. Well, you guys known each other forever, and
Forever, yeah.
yeah, that always helps. So let's talk some about the album. Some of the songs. It's kind of to me, it's a fresh familiarity because the songs, as I'm listening to them, when I'm going through the chorus the second time, I'm singing along. I already know. I already know it. It's very easy to listen to, but there's a lot of introspection to it too. I'm just very impressed with the songwriting on this thing. Heavy on the Humble is the first track, and that sounds like it's you've got a woman in your life that keeps you balanced. Is that a fair way to say it?
I think you could say that just about anything. No, I wrote that song with Mike Ferris and a guy named Teddy Sink. With Teddy from the Deltas. I don't know how to say that. Siegel, their last name. I think that's how I say it. But the Deltas are this cool brother duo. And anyhow, wrote that with Mike, and I think Ted had the title, and Mike had called me and said, "Man, I got this chorus for this song. You think you could help me with it?" And then I kind of banged out the rest of it or whatever. Yeah, that's kind of the woman that keeps you steady.
Heavy on the humble, easy on my mind. She picks me up every time I stumble. She lays me down when I get too high. It's perfect. It really, really great way to start the album. Then the title track is next. One More Time for the Man. Really beautiful, upbeat song. So who is the man?
Well, that's interesting question because I'm still trying to figure out who the man is. I'm like, am I the man? Who's the man? Like, I don't know who the man is. I just know that sometimes you gotta, give it up one more time for the man.
Yeah, I mean, because when I listen to it, sometimes I would think, okay, well, the performer, the singer, he's the man. Okay, well, then I listen to it again. Well, maybe the guy in the audience is the man.
Yeah, everyone's the man.
Everyone's the man. So
everyone's the man.
Just one more time for the man, whoever that is.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I don't like to so much, try to analyze my songs too much. Other than it just kind of comes out, and sometimes I don't even know what the fuck it is. But I guess later on, I kind of that was kind of about this, or that was that, or this was, just like the songwriter always says, it just came out of nowhere, or whatever, that kind of stuff. But I couldn't even tell you. I couldn't even begin to tell you. What it is. I mean,
that's all right.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it could be me. I guess it could be, any guy. That is like, hey, I like one more time. Like I still got it. I still can do this.
You say you don't try to overthink your songs that much, but the next one is Slit Tails and Straight Rails.
Yeah.
That's a beauty. That I'm laughing at one line, and by the end of the song I got a tear in my eye.
It'll,
and it's
yeah,
it's wonderful. And you can tell you're from a, a different era, probably my era,
yeah,
because you just talked about call each other names like queer and fag. We didn't mean to
right.
hurt anyone, just doing what our daddies did done. I mean, that growing up, you didn't think anything about that. It
No,
wasn't
we didn't.
a comment on any sexuality or anything.
Uh,
It was just
he
a
just said
word.
it was just a word to say,
Yeah.
and you know, I think the guy who did the album cover, he was listening to the record as he was doing the album cover, and he would comment on it, you know, over the period,
Yeah.
and you know, he was like, man, I'm not just blowing smoke, but like this is like the perfect middle aged record. You know, or
Yeah.
something
Yeah.
to that effect. You know, he was like, you know, like, you know, like you have to be from a certain era and a certain time, a certain mindset, and from a certain, you know, geographic location to understand One More Time for the Man as a
Uh,
collectively.
yeah, well, yeah, there's definitely that there because there's a lot of nostalgia in it.
Yeah,
There's some regret in it, and I think this song kind of encapsulates all of that.
yeah,
You know, where you said the last line I think is "I never got out because I settled for getting stoned." Um, you know, the whole
yeah,
album, everything up to that point is looking back very
yeah,
happily on the life that was lived, and then it's like, well, I'm still here
yeah,
and not really happy about it. And
yeah,
it's just beautiful way
yeah.
to turn that phrase.
Well, you know, I'm sure somebody's true story, right? Like that
Sure. I
we
think it's a
know
lot
that
of people's true story.
it's a lot of people's true story, and
Yeah.
I will say the title came from a close friend of mine, dear friend, who me and my friends from high school are on a you know, long-standing text thread, and we were talking one day about one of the guy's mothers who would she was this Mama Francis, had 13 kids. Her husband was a great bluegrass musician and singer and songwriter, and she was, we called her Mama Francis, and she would kind of, you know, give us a direction, and she would when we'd be going out, you know, at night, you know, she'd be yelling at us as we're driving down. Now,
Hmm.
don't be chasing those slit tails. And and we were talking about it in the text thread with my old high school buddies who I love and adore.
Hmm.
And I brought up the slit tails thing,
Hmm.
and we going on and on about it. And one of my dear friends, who's mentioned in the song Roosty,
Yeah.
he says, he just said slit tails and straight rails. And I wrote that song in about 10 minutes.
Well, it's a really really good song. Just the way you wrote everything and you kind of carry that whole story all the way through. Um, uh, it really, I enjoyed that a lot.
Thank you.
Like I said, one minute I'm laughing, the next minute I got a tear in my eye. So, and that's not the only time that happens on this album. But
I'm sorry, man. I'm very.
that's no, sorry. It is a wonderful ride.
I've had
Um,
several people call me and say that they, you know, man, thanks a lot. I cried for 4 hours, you motherfucker.
well, okay. Now we
Yeah.
talked about it. This is maybe somebody's life story, a scratch off life. I'm assuming is not autobiographical. Um,
Well,
Kind of a
no, but it could
blue
be.
collar desperation kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's it's the tale of so many, you know,
Hmm.
people, men in particular, in this country in particular. And you see it every day when you're at the you know, getting gas at the
Hmm.
and people spending all their money on these scratch off tickets. And then actually, the song just came to me. I was just waiting in line to pay for gas, and this fella, was just, you could just tell he just didn't have a penny to his name, but he was spending all what he had. And then he'd say, "Okay,
Right.
now give me a blah 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 scratch off now." Oh no, okay, and I'll take a blah 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 scratch. I don't know the
Yeah.
names, but
Right.
and I'm just thinking, oh, man, that is
Right.
a tragedy.
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Again.
many of these people, working class folks, and there's a something that's been going on, and they just feel like they were cheated out of something,
Mm-hmm.
even though they might not have been, and that's
Yeah.
that's a powerful thing when a
Mm-hmm.
whole class of people think they were robbed,
Right.
and so. It's kind of what the song is about, I guess.
Yeah. No, it's a good song. Really. Again, thankfully, it's not autobiographical at all. But
Well,
it's telling a story for a segment of society that is very sad to see.
yeah, totally.
Yeah. Speaking of sad, The Wrong Way. Oh man, that's the one that you just kind of.
Did you cry?
Yes, absolutely, I did. I mean, it's a sad country song to the next level. How did you come up with this? Because this is a very desperate story.
Yeah, you know, it's it's something that I think a lot of people feel, a lot of men feel, a lot of men that have come before us, a lot of men of our generation. Um, you know, Once again, it's this idea that you know, hey, I was just born.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just doing the best I can. Why do why me? Why everything I seem to do, you know, everything I seem to do right turns out the wrong way, right?
Yeah.
And
Right.
so it's like, this person goes through life and he thinks he's doing everything the right way, from a child
Mm-hmm.
on, and
Yeah.
it's just not in the cards,
No. The
Yeah.
you kind of take it from the where the character is a child, and his mom's telling him that she's throwing his dad out, and then she brings in somebody else, and then
Well,
they
no, yeah,
ship him off.
the no, you're correct, but it's the mom the mom blames the son
Mm-hmm.
for the father leaving, and blames it on him, and that's,
Yeah.
that's where it starts. What did I do? you
Right.
know I'm just
Right.
I'm just a kid. How could I? I did that. He left
Right.
because of me, right?
Yeah.
And then then it moves on to, then he's like probably adolescent, and she finds a new man. She moves him in, and you know she gets pregnant, and they're gonna have a new baby, and then they realize, oh, well, we're gonna send you off to your cousins out
Yeah.
west, and you're gonna live with them.
Yeah.
And what did I was just a kid. What did I
Right.
do? I did
Right.
everything right. I cleaned my room. I tried to stay out of the way. I was, why?
Yeah.
Then it progresses from there.
Yeah. The end. I could see that lyric coming, and I'm thinking in my head, "Don't say it, Nick. Don't you say it." That
Look,
when he's married, he's got kids, and then his wife throws him out. She found her way, and way into the arms of another man. She moved me out and moved him in. And I knew what you were going to say. And I'm like, don't
Yeah,
say it. Don't
yeah,
say it.
because
And then you say,
it's every father's worst nightmare.
and now they call him dad. I'm like,
Yeah.
and I'm just tears. Oh man, it hurt.
I know.
It hurt. It hurt.
I'm
But man,
sorry, man.
it is a
I'm sorry.
very real, raw song that is, again, beautifully written, beautifully executed.
Well, thank
Just
you. Thank
the
you.
wrong, yeah. It's my favorite song to not listen to again.
Yeah, well, it may be
No, that's
only
not true.
it may be like a three and done kind of thing.
No, it's true. It really is terrific. It really is true. But then you come to Slipping Away, which is at least musically kind of a palate cleanser from that
Yeah,
gut wrenching wrong way. But tell us about Slipping Away.
Slipping Away is kind of like this kind of 70s kind of rocker kind of, I don't even know what to call it, but it's kind of a fun lyric, but it's kind of not. It's kind of a party song, but kind of not.
Kind of not, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's little Beatlesque instrumentation there at the end as
Yeah.
it fades out.
Yeah. Yeah. There's some, Tom Bukovac produced this with me, and he kind of turned this song. I wouldn't have thought it would come out. This song in particular wouldn't have come out like this, but he it kind of turned into kind of a Kinks kind of, I don't
Okay.
yeah, it's kind of
Okay.
thing.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. Tellico Plains. I actually know where Tellico Plains is. I've been to
Well,
Tellico Plains.
that makes one of us.
So how did you write us? Did you just pick a city out of the map, or you needed something with that many syllables? And
There's not like no. There's the song is again, you just I hope the listeners get the record and listen to the songs, but it literally is. I came up with that. I've been, I'm always like searching. I'm always searching all the time. Whether it's, and I'm always looking for something. I always searching, whatever. I'm a seeker, right? So
right.
somehow, I was looking for this, like, it's like it was just after COVID, and just like going through all this shit. My dad had died, and I had to close my restaurants and like all this shit. Anyhow,
Right.
I kept saying like, oh fucking, I need to like, if this shit happens again, I need somewhere to fucking go to, like, escape, right? Like,
Yeah.
and I would just be looking for properties or like just land or whatever. And for whatever reason, every time I would look for something, like Teleco Plains would come up.
Yeah.
Always Teleco Plains. Like it would, but like I was like, what the fuck is this Teleco Plains? I was like, it just kept coming. It just kept coming back, like Teleco Plains, and I just that was it. I was searching, and Teleco Plains.
Yeah. Looking for it out on Tellico Plains. So the it, what is the it? Is it faith? Is it love? Is it?
I'm looking.
Is it?
I'm looking for
Who is
it.
the man?
I'm just looking for the man. No, yeah, that's it. Still
Yeah.
looking for it out on Tellico Plains.
Yeah. Now, I'm gonna, not to quote all the lyrics of every song, but this again, just brilliant. It says, you say, prayed for God for more mouths to feed. We had 3, and now they'll soon be feeding me. They grew up one day, and they all went away. I mean, you cover 50 years of a life effortlessly in 3 lines of a song. I mean, and vividly. I mean, you know,
like I was saying before, like this is a a hard hitting middle aged man record.
yeah,
I mean, other than my children, I don't think anybody in their 20 years old in their 20s is going to go, oh, yeah, like I really relate.
well, if they want to hear great songs, great music,
Sure, sure.
uh, and have a master class on how to write songs, anybody ought to listen to this album. But even as a young person, I think you could jump into it and you can see, I mean, people are smart. They can project, they can see, they can see their mom and dad in this
Yeah, I
for
agree.
sure.
I agree
Yeah.
with that. I don't think it's exclusive as far as music goes. I don't think it's exclusive to anybody. I think
Yeah.
it has common themes that anybody could understand or connect or put their own you know lives into it.
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
Yeah.
but I do think it is the time span is of how the songs
Yeah. You,
cover a
you,
wide time span,
you,
so that may
you
be
co-
hard for young people to relate to that.
yeah. Um, the the next song, usually the next to the last song on an album is where they put the filler song, but there aren't any filler songs on here, so you just put the single.
Yeah,
Train ain't gonna stop.
yeah,
Uh,
because I knew that nobody would actually hear that song when I put it on there, when I did the track listing, and I put it, I guess second to last, and I thought, how most people, nobody can even listen to a whole album other than obviously you can, but I mean, and then I'm like, oh, well, that I think that song is probably maybe the most palpable for the general public.
mhm.
But I don't think anybody that's heard the record yet has even listened to it because they probably haven't gotten that far. So I was like, you know what? I'll put it out as a single and then
Yeah.
I'll make
Oh,
them.
oh, it's very clever musically because the acoustic part at the beginning, the drum part, everything's kind of has that train vibe to it, so it kind of feeds into that
Right.
the whole you title of the song.
One more train song.
Yeah. Hey,
One more train song. You just can't get
you cannot get enough of train songs.
I mean, that's
Um,
just you know.
but yeah, really good song. And let's pour some more whiskey. You got the other one there. Now this one this is a Booker's, which is made by the Jim Beam Company.
Never
This
heard of them.
Never heard of them. It's a little organization a little south of here in Louisville. This is the batch Booker's batch 2018-02. It's called Backyard Barbecue. They've been naming their batches for several years now, and they're always barrel strength. And this one is 128.8 proof. So be
Be careful.
aware. Yeah,
Looks like I picked the wrong week to stop drinking.
yeah, you did. Yeah, this is what I call an aggressive bourbon because it'll sneak up on you. Cheers, sir.
Man,
Yeah,
that's great.
you can kind of feel the proof of it, but it doesn't. There's also a nice little sweetness to it and a little nuttiness to it.
I like that line.
Yeah,
Feel the proof.
yeah, you can feel the proof.
Feel the proof. Yeah, that's
Yep,
good. Let me
yep.
write that real quick.
Yeah, let's write that song. we got some time to kill. Last track is In the Meantime. Um, and so uh, I mean, I think that it kind of explains itself as to what it's about, but tell us what that song means to you and why you chose to write it.
Well, the song just came to me right after, I was telling you earlier about, you're asking about my childhood and music and how I was involved, and I was telling you about my stepdad, who's a great
Mm-hmm.
musician. And anyhow, my stepdad was very close to, and he passed away during COVID, not from
Mm-hmm.
COVID, but just from some freak thing that happened. He got, fell, got stitches on
Mm-hmm.
his head, and then, they did a procedure, and, he
Wow.
it induced multiple strokes, and he, basically died. So anyhow, it was a great shock. He was, still a, relatively young, older man, and
Mm-hmm.
um, anyhow, it came to me, and I was out on my porch writing it, and um, I literally wrote the song in like 5 minutes, but it was, and I dedicated the record to him too.
Yeah.
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 And so it came to me. I was writing it, and if you notice at the end of the song, there's some birds chirping,
Yep. Yeah.
and that was actually when I was writing the song. There, I put my phone down to record it. Same place I've done 100 times or more. That's where I write, and I was just kind of had a little melody going, and I was working on it and kind of just humming some kind of lyrics a little
Yeah.
bit, and getting a feel for it. And I kind of got a few little a little something together, and I recorded it, and and then when I played it back, and this is on my iPhone, the phone, the 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 music of me singing and playing guitar was totally morphed,
Mm.
like analog morphed, like a tape, like was like going all
Yeah.
that kind of stuff, which digitally stuff doesn't
Right.
do that
Shouldn't do
anymore.
that. Yeah.
And if you listen close, it, that's on there, right?
Yeah.
On the recording,
Yeah.
in the meantime, on the record at the very end, and but but through the everything else, the song and me singing and playing guitar, going, that bird is singing perfectly through it.
Yeah.
And why is it not morphed? And I just, right from there, I knew it was him talking to me, and I literally just busted those lyrics out. I mean, in two
Yeah.
minutes.
Yeah. Yeah. It and you say I'll meet you on the other side, um and when I'm listening to it, I'm thinking my mom passed away about 4 years ago, and so when I'm listening to it, I'm thinking about her, and I knew that you had to have somebody that was the
Yeah.
the thought behind that song too, and
Yeah.
it's just a
And I
beautiful tune.
thank you. And I hope it give you some comfort. I've had other people, express that, and that it's gotten through. They've it's they listen to it, and it's a release, and it
Yeah.
gives them a little, something,
Yeah.
so.
Now there's a beautiful guitar solo outro on the song, and is that I saw in the notes that you sent over, it's Conrad Govrik. Is that
Mhm.
your son?
That is my youngest son.
Yeah,
He's a
beautiful,
musician.
beautiful
Thank you. Thank
man. He
you.
kills it. It's just so good.
Yeah, and it was really special that that he played on it and played on that song, because all the other guitar is all Tom Bukovac. Everything, I mean,
Mhm,
I played some acoustic on it, but all the guitars are Tom, like all the rhythm, all the lead, but
mhm.
most and anyhow, I really wanted my son Conrad to come in and play something on it, and he came in, and it was one of the last tunes we did, and he just knocked that solo out,
Yeah.
like, you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
And
it was really special, and that it was him and doing that,
yeah.
because we were just gonna leave it without a solo, with
Oh,
nothing, just let it just
no,
be an
that,
outro and a fade,
yeah.
and and Tom was like, let's just get Conrad to play something over, because I kept saying, oh, it needs some, just like a little bit of color on top of it on the outro, and he's like, oh, let's get Conrad to do something on the end of it. And yeah, so it was
Yeah.
beautiful as a
It,
father to watch your son and
oh,
things,
yeah.
you
Oh,
know.
yeah. No, it's perfect way to end this in the song in the album. Um, and you've talked about Tom quite a bit. He, a producer of great note. You've mentioned that he produced Trigger Hippy album, and he's been country music guitarist of the year several different times. So a lot of talent there. Talk about some of the other folks that played on the record.
Yeah, well, let's see. We had Jordan Perlson played drums. He's one of the drummer that's doing the Guitar Party, my record release.
Yeah,
He's an incredible musician.
I
Jimmy
looked up
Hall.
his audition video that he sent to Primus.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that was very cool. Very
Well, how
cool.
was it? What's it
Uh,
like?
oh, he's fantastic. He's incredible. The
Mhm.
fact that he can play your music so well,
Yeah,
but then also turn around and play Primus. The guy's got
yeah.
skill. The
No,
guy's got skill.
he's an incredible musician.
Yeah,
He's a very fully formed musician. I mean,
yeah,
he's a completely fully formed musician. The same
yeah,
way, like Tom Bukovac is the same way. I mean, he's just a completely fully formed. Not all
yeah.
musicians. You could be a great musician, but still not be fully formed. If that makes
Fully
sense.
formed.
Yeah.
Yes, I mean that could Nick Govrik and the Fully Formed. That could be the band.
Well,
No, you've got a name for the band. Tell everyone what the name of the band is,
what
or
which?
uh, you posse
Oh, oh,
posse
oh,
comitatus.
oh, oh, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
That's Latin,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Yeah,
uh,
it's just that's where the term posse comes from. That's my
yeah,
posse.
yeah,
Yeah, the band. Yeah.
yeah. Um,
So yeah,
uh,
Jordan
other drummers.
Pearlson,
Who are the other drummers?
Sarah Tomek, she plays on. She's
Yeah,
great
she's
drummer.
playing with the Dead Daisies now, I think.
Is it the Dead Daisies? Is she?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Is
I think she plays on the new Dead Daisies album, which is
Yeah,
all classic old school blues stuff, and it's
yeah.
fantastic. She's great.
She's a beast. I love her. She's so much
Yeah.
fun and so cool. And we had a
What
great
track
time.
did Chris McHugh play on?
He played on Scratch Off Live.
Okay.
That was the only one he played on. We brought him in.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I knew his name immediately because I was a big Whiteheart fan back in the day.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
What? I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, shit. Maybe I
That is a
should. Maybe
long time ago.
shit. Maybe I shouldn't have put his name in the credits.
Oh no, that's great. I love
No,
it.
I'm kidding. Yeah, Whiteheart.
Yeah.
Hold on, Whiteheart. Let me get. Whiteheart was like a. Were they like a
Christian.
Canadian
No,
Christian? No,
no,
Christian band.
Christian rock band. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, great. Back in their heyday was in the early mid '80s.
yeah.
Yeah, they were great.
They were like along the lines of like
Yeah,
Petra or
yeah, kind of. Yeah,
something of that era.
yeah.
Yeah,
They were
that's
one of my favorites. Yeah,
when I first moved to Tennessee. You know, I had no idea what like Protestant, like and like Southern Baptist and Church of Christ and shit
Yeah.
like that was. I just thought everybody was like, if you were like Christian, you were just a Christian. Right? I didn't know there was
Right.
like different like I didn't know anything about that shit. And I remember like all the girls I liked, or try to go after, and stuff. They would all be like, they'd be into those, Christian rock bands, and I'd be
Yeah.
like, what kind of shit is this? Like, like, why don't you just listen to real rock?
Right. Uh, who else is going to be off the out? The played on the album is going to be playing with you on the 27th.
Well, I think I know Wendy Moten, who sang background vocals on the record. She's the only one I've confirmed so far. Maybe Bruce Boughton might play some steel on it. I can't divulge that information. I have to
Well, it looks like it'll be a great time, and man, just very excited for you. I hope this is a huge success for you.
Man, it's gonna be huge. It's gonna sell in the millions.
It ought to.
I'm gonna get so big off this. This will probably be our last podcast because after
Well,
this,
you'll
I'm gonna be
stop
so.
returning
Yeah,
my
yeah.
emails. Yeah, I know.
I'm right on to Joe Rogan and
Yeah.
Club Random.
Well, I'll just say that I knew you when, and
One
that'll
thing we
just have to
didn't
do it.
do, I was like, can we have ice? And I was thinking, you ever watch Bill Maher's Club Random thing? And
Yeah.
and nobody ever points out the fact that like when he gets ice for his drink,
Mm-hmm.
he's like this, and he like, he fixes his drink, gets and then out of the ice thing, and then like for other people too, he's like, like, I'm just like, dude, like
Yeah.
you can't get some tongs on that.
Something, yeah. Other than
Yeah,
your
he's all
dirty,
like,
nasty fingers, yes.
I'm like, what, so he's all like, yeah. And so yeah, I'm just like, come on.
But to answer your question, yes, you can drink it however you want. Yes, if you want it on ice, go on ice, and if you
I
don't,
didn't
if
want
you
to
want it neat,
insult
go
it. I
neat.
didn't want to insult somebody from the great Commonwealth of Kentucky.
Nope, I'm not that easily offended.
Which I'm actually a Kentuckian, too.
Are you?
Well, yeah. So when I was looking for the Tellico Plains,
Yeah.
I didn't find it in Tellico Plains, but I found it in Western Kentucky and the land between the lakes, and
Okay.
got a little 6 acres and a little cabin up there. So
There you go.
I actually wanted to do our sampling from up there, but I couldn't get up there to do it.
Yeah. Well, yes.
So. There's
Land
some
between
good.
the lakes. There's a song there. You know,
You ever been?
feeling the proof. The land between the lakes. Yes, I have been there. Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, I've kept you here for a good bit now,
Yeah,
but I've had
man.
a great time taling to you.
That was great. That was a lot of fun. Thanks for having me on your program.
Yeah.
And that was, the concept is good. I like the name.
Thank you.
Steve asked me about it, doing it.
Yeah.
He said, "Hey, my friend has this thing called Bourbon Turntable. You think podcast you might want to do?" I was like, I don't know anything about it, but that's got a good name. So
Everybody needs to get a hold of this. Nick Govrik, one more time for the man. It really is some of the best songwriting that I've heard in a while. And
thank you. You can go to my website, www.nickgovrik.com. That I just did my own website. I made it myself. All these years I've always like had like an organization, a record company, whoever, they all did this stuff. So this was a real learning process. Like even just getting the vinyl pressed and the CDs and like doing the artwork, like getting the artwork and facilitating, expediting it all. Like, yeah, I'm even sending, mailing. I mean, the shit, like I got all these things to mail it, like like, oh, right, you know, it's
Yeah.
crazy. Yeah.
No, you sent me a whole media kit. It looked like, you know, you've been doing this forever.
Well, I don't know. I have been doing it forever, but I don't know how good it is. But all I'm trying to do here is leave something for my family, my friends, my grandchildren, and hopefully sell a few tapes out of my trunk at some shitty beach gig somewhere down in Panama
Yeah.
City. That's all I'm trying to do.
Yeah. Speaking of
And
which, are you going to do a tour? Are you going to tour with this thing?
I'm gonna do something. I've got to, I want to put a little band together and do something for it.
Yeah. Okay.
But
Well, come on up here. I'll buy you a drink.
well, you bought me two, and
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, it worked. See, I just finally got loosened up. Can we start this?
You just finally got loosened up.
Can we start over?
Can we start all over? Hi, welcome to
Bourbon
Turntable.
I didn't really get to talk about my. Please buy this. Somebody help.
People will. People are going to listen to this. They're going to love it. And really excited for you, Nick.
Thank you, man.
Just really one of the finest songwriters around.
Well, that's very kind. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Man.
So we will hopefully see you when you're out on tour. I'm going to try to get to Nashville on the 27th.
I wish you would. Let me know. Let me know. Come on down. We'll sneak you in the back door.
Oh, well, there you go. Now, that may be too tempting to pass up. But
you got to bring the Booker's bourbon.
I will bring you some Booker's bourbon and sneak in the back door.
Barbecue.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, man.
Cheers, Nick.
Cheers to you.
Enjoyed it, brother. Thanks. All right. Well, I hope you enjoyed the conversation I had with Nick. I know I did, and I'm pretty sure he did, especially by the end where he, like he said, he finally got loosened up. So we're almost started over, but we didn't. But it was a lot of fun talking with Nick. Wish him all the success in the world with this album. One more time for the man, Nick Govrik. Be sure to check it out wherever you stream music. And again, if you're in Nashville, be sure to go by Friday night, June 27th, and see Nick at 3rd and Lindsley. Hear the album live for yourself. Hopefully we'll get this guy out on tour, and we'll all get a chance to go see him in our own neighborhood. But be sure to follow us on YouTube, favorite podcast platform, or on Facebook, or on Instagram. Post some really good stuff on Instagram too. I don't promote that enough on this show, but there's a lot of good stuff on Instagram. I do some reviews on there, whiskey reviews, do some music reviews, post some reels. If I'm at a concert, I want to post 1 or 2 live shots from the concert there as well. So check us out over on Instagram as well. So thanks for watching. Check out Nick's album, and we will see you next time.